I'm Jack Bamister and you're watching UteFans.net.
Hey, Ute fans, welcome to another great episode of The Extra Point presented by UteFans.net. I'm joined by Robert Johnson, Mark Oberg, and Cal Beck. How are you guys doing today?
Fantastic. It is a great day to be a Ute. Being a Jets fan, it's very rare the football gods smile on me all week, and this week was phenomenal.
So let's just jump right into it. Rojo, what do you think? Like initial takeaways from this game in Stillwater against number 14 OSU?
Well, first I was shocked that Isaac was playing. I didn't know that I had a feeling that I didn't think that he was going to play. I didn't think he was going to start, but it was awesome. It was awesome. Seeing how he progressed during the game. I'm excited about what our future looks like. And the way that the game went, it was one of those barn burners that we always talks about that we talk about a lot, and I've been part of it with Coach Witt playing. So this was an awesome win, and this was a big time win, especially down there in Stillwater, where it's hard to win. And watching it on TV, it makes sense. Like, oh my God, like, it was just crazy. But I'm really happy with the team and happy with how the results. Really happy about the results, but really happy with where the future is going, even though this is early in the season.
Cal Beck, sound off.
I have to concur. The story of the game was obviously Isaac. I think he displayed the traits that the coaching staff and the players have been talking about. He managed the game extremely well as it continued to get more intense through the momentum swings. I think he has now proven to the country that opposing players and coaches need to see him no longer as Isaac, but as Isaac, Mr. Wilson. He came through in the absolute clutch. And the thing that really got my attention was the one-on-one battles that were going on in different pockets of the offense and the defense. We had players take that game on their shoulders and show just how they could dominate. I was going to ask you guys, which one of the one-on-one battles stuck out the most to you as being the most influential? Was it Bernard versus the defensive line because he had a lot of yards after contact? Was it Singer out there making number 9 isolate with him and be aware of him? I mean, I saw momentum swings possible with player determination, and it was phenomenal to watch.
Mark?
Yeah, I echo what Rojo and Cal just said. I would say there's no longer any anxiety in the quarterback situation for Ute fans. We've got two good quarterbacks that can lead us to victory. And then it was bully ball when up we were physical, and the run game. I mean, we were 248 on the ground. They were 48. We were 207 in the air, and they were a little more because they had some success late. But dominant performance. And to answer Cal's question, I thought it was Bernard against their D line. He would not go down. That 61-yard run was a work of art.
What about how time of possession factored into this victory? Utah dominated in that respect. What do you think, Rojo?
It was great. This is exactly what we talked about, or I spoke about this on another on ESPN 700 a day before the game. I was like, ball control would be our biggest thing, and being able to not have too many turnovers. I'm like, that's like the biggest thing. But I honestly did not know that Bernard was going to come out and pound the way he was pounding, and that was very exciting. And then it wasn't just him; it was the other three running backs as well that stepped in when needed. And it's crazy to think about that we have a committee of running backs because it's having it's so hard to get a running back that's going to be that gets that they get in the vibe, they get in the zone, and all of a sudden they get subbed out. But man, I say Q, our running backs coach, man, he got them dialed up, and they all are okay with the position and the part that they play on the team. which showed why we had so much success with like some of those crazy runs and powerful runs and falling forward. It was a lot of falling forward that I love, and that controlled the clock, and that just takes the air out of the stadium knowing that there's so many people there.
Cal, what do you think?
Time of possession was key. Where do you think we sit nationally now in time of possession?
Pretty high. Got to be pretty high, right?
47 minutes clocked yesterday. We leapfrogged most of the country to be seventh in the country in time of possession now. And that had to have been part of the game plan, obviously, for the management. Keeping defense off the field. You would think that Stillwater would buy thermometers that stop breaking on the sideline due to the heat. But I mean, it was obviously an impact. Time of possession was a key benefactor. Rojo, you said it perfectly. It let us manage the game and walk away with 3 points at the end of grueling drive, still feeling successful.
Let's talk about the defensive performance yesterday. Pretty impressive. I mean, we got a little close in the fourth quarter, but for the most part, we were dominant on the defensive end of the ball. Mark, what do you think about our defensive performance yesterday?
It was key. I mean, the old adage in football to establish the run and on defense take away the run. We did that. I mean, we held them to 48 yards, made them one-dimensional on a day when their quarterbacks were not that good. It made it a pretty boring game and factored into that time of possession imbalance.
Cal, you have something to say?
I was beside myself when the Admiral got pulled when they pulled Bowden out of their starting quarterback. And I call him the Admiral because of the social media meme that was going around pitting this game as a battle of the Caribbean between our pirate Captain Jack and against their Admiral looking naval general. But it was dumbfounding to see where he went. We dominated what we do best in defense in the country right now. We're ranked fifth in third down percentage. We managed to get off the field and rest. I was really kind of dumbfounded at the end looking at the stats line to see we only got one sack.
Yeah.
That game, yeah. I mean, one sack. And it wasn't for a lack of pressure. I just don't think that the linebackers are being sent as much so that they can help out in those zone drops. But I tell you what, our defensive line, it was a chess match between two veteran coaches. And if you look back at what Mike Gundy does best, it's run the football. And if we take that away, we knock the wind out of Mike Gundy's philosophical offense. He had a Doak Walker Award winner last year. So they're used to pounding the rock like we did. And out of curiosity, do you know who his running backs were when he was the starting quarterback at Ohio State or at Oklahoma State?
I would go back to time, but did he have the great Barry Sanders back then?
That's one of them. And the other one, Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Thomas.
This man loves to run the ball in his offense, and we cut him off at the legs with that.
Well, and then talking about defense-wise too, like we seen a little snip of some stuff last week, and I know that we was all, because I know I'm a safety, so I know that we was all kind of like concerned a little bit when we did play press man. It was like come on now, I know we trying things in the first half. It's like let's not do it. But if you watch the game, man, I'm so happy and proud of these DBs, man. I'm so happy and proud of them. They played so well, and me playing safety, that press man, it's sometimes you out there on that island by yourself. But I know one thing.
Love it. And you loved it.
Yeah, I did. But then it makes you like we lost our best, or one of our best, not like best now, is one of our best corners, like the second series of the season. And to see that these young bulls out here, they out here really like making some noise. They can press. It's just so impressive to watch them now and not feel like we're losing something behind. Snowden, I have said this before about this kid. Like when he first came into the University of Utah, I was like, this kid feet is nice. I was like, he got some good feet work. His feet work is nice, but he is just he's a game changer. And just all the DBs play so good. And I was just so happy and proud of him because we getting to that point now where y'all, like you just mentioned, Cal, our linebackers, we have some really good linebackers, but they really don't have to do much unless we ask them to do it because we got a D-line that's really good. Then we lost a D tackle that was one of our top D tackles. It just shows that the depth that we're gathering here at the University of Utah it's amazing because defense wise, we need it. But now it's like all we gotta do is just make sure to get the ball back to the offense and let them do as much as they want.
Snowden stepped up. Calhoun steps up again.
Mhm.
It's your boy Mark Scooby.
Yeah, Scooby.
Yes. I mean, you had playmakers making plays in their individual battles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a work of art. That interception by Scooby, it looked like Willie Mays.
Mm-hmm. And think about the big hit. That big hit by Teo Johnson. I always say Teo, but yeah, by Johnson. That was clean hit, and that was the perfect timing to make a hit like that to make that crowd understand, like, hey, it ain't what you think it is. And the receivers, they kind of stopped running towards the middle until that last drive when they did the two. It was like a 2-minute drill for them at the beginning when they scored their second to the last touchdown, or they scored their last touchdown. That was just quick. But at the end of the day, he made sure to stamp that of like, don't go down that middle because I'm going to run into you.
It's been a lot of fun to see a former DB doing well on the offensive side of the ball and a former running back doing well, or wide receiver doing well in the defensive backfield.
Defensive back.
And the announcers yesterday were some of the most delightful I've ever heard broadcast a national Utah game. And granted, there was a little family connection from the booth, but they recognized the fact we find people to play in positions to be impact and to have that impact. And that's what these kids want to make is an impact.
So something I want to say just to kind of wrap up this segment is watching the game. You know, we have Isaac Wilson starting. He's still kind of learning the ropes, obviously, at Utah. He had a great performance, managed the game well, as we mentioned earlier. We go into Stillwater and we beat what we think is a good Oklahoma State team, although it's pretty early in the season and things are still kind of shaking out there, obviously. What I'm wondering is, you know, this game was touted as like one of the biggest games in our schedule, right? And when we basically dominated these guys, right? Kansas State goes down last night against BYU. They're not who we thought they were. I'm wondering. I know you like that, Cal. I know you like that. So what I'm trying to get at is like, what are our chances here of running the table? Like how, I know it's early in the season, but how good is Utah? Do we have a legitimate shot to run the table? It's certainly looking like that to me. What do you guys think?
It's legit, but it's a heavy cloud to hang over the thought process at this point. I mean, the players, coaches, one game at a time, one opponent at a time. I'm sure after seeing our display on the road, the team down south decided to step up and do some things. It's a new conference. Who's to say what's to go? Kansas State's not going to just go away, and running the table in the Big 12 is like running the table in any other conference. It's a big cut of work. I would like to say it's possible, but I would deem it as non-probable just because the longer you go undefeated, the more you worry about that drop, that emotional drop. Do you start focusing on the streak versus the little things every week that you've got to go into? 94, 30 years ago, we go up and beat Oregon, Pac-12 school on the road to go 3-0 on the year. And as we kept winning, we got to 8-0 and went to New Mexico. And the buzz around campus and the media was undefeated versus running the table in the conference. So I'm not going to say we lost focus, but it becomes a factor later on down the road you don't want to have to deal with.
Mark Oberg, what do you think?
Cal's exactly right. I mean, it's coach speak, but it's one game at a time. And if you're not focused on the next opponent, you're going to get beat. So that's what we have to do. You know, as fans, we can kind of say, yeah, it looks conceivable, right? I think it looks conceivable. I don't know how much, you know, I would bet on it, but you take it one game at a time and see how it goes.
And
Yeah.
Rojo.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough. I mean, I'm right with Mark as well as like Kyle on this one. It's like it's early in the season, and any given Saturday, a team can step in and do what they need to do. What I would say is that the goal is to make a playoff spot. To me, that's the goal. I mean, we can start off with the first goal, like you were just mentioning, Kyle, like that first goal of just winning our conference, which is always important because when you focus on winning your conference, everything else falls right in order the way it's supposed to. But it's far from now. But what I'm seeing, and I'm not saying this just because I'm a Ute fan, because I'm always, but what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling is that the 2018, the way that we played defense wise, as well as the offense doing what they need to be doing by managing the ball, and it will be like turnovers here and there. But then towards the end of the season, we start getting better and start understanding where our strengths is. The team is looking, from my perspective, looking like the 2018. The way that the quarterbacks, we had Brian Johnson when I was playing, and then we got Isaac right now. Brian was a control, manage the clock type of person, and he had his ups and downs where it was moments that he throws interceptions or fumbles. Isaac, it's kind of seemed like he's on that same type of path of like he's a good quarterback, but then he has his moments. He has like moments where things happen. And then defense wise, we was always powerful on defense. We can slow teams down. Now we're not gonna fully stop them, like shut them out, but we can slow them down. And that's all you need was to slow them down. And then that fourth quarter comes around, Coach Ludwig started running the certain plays where we start getting action. So I'm not saying that we can go undefeated for sure this season, but it's looking really familiar to something I've seen and I've played in watching like the first three games we played in.
Right on. Yeah, I can't agree with you guys more. We will be right back after a few messages.
The Ken Garff University Club in Rice Eccles Stadium is Utah's premier social club. Members enjoy incredible dining experiences, co-working spaces, exclusive member events, and fun game experiences like tailgating, pep rallies, and watch parties. Membership starts as low as $80 a month and is actively accepting new memberships. To learn more about joining this beautiful club, go to kengarfuniversityclub.com to learn more.
Hey, Ute fans, welcome back to the show. I'm here with Robert Johnson, Cal Beck, and Mark Oberg. We had a great first segment. The most important thing right now is, do you guys think that I should just ferment my mustache?
You know what? If you truly love something, let it go. Just see what it does.
Trim up that dirt stash and keep it going. Nah.
The handlebars, man.
Rojo loves this mustache. I can tell.
Yeah, police stash right there. You can trim that up. You'll be like Halloween.
Lieutenant Dangle.
Yep, Halloween. Perfect. It works out.
So great first segment, guys. Utah takes care of business against what we think is a pretty good Oklahoma State team. We're getting close to being halfway through the season now. We've got Arizona coming into Salt Lake City this next weekend. We owe them. Now, I'm mad about what happened last year. And you guys, I could see Cal disagreeing with this, but they ran up the score on us last year.
No, they did. There's only two teams I dislike more than Arizona. I'm glad they're coming to us this year, and it's a night game.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think? I mean, we've got Arizona at altitude. They've had at least one loss so far this season, correct?
Right.
And who did they lose to?
They got embarrassed at K-State.
Okay, interesting. And K-State just got embarrassed by the team down south last night. So very interesting what's shaping up in the Big 12 right now. What are the keys to the game against this Arizona team with a pretty talented offense? What do you think, Mark?
Well, I think like every week, it's about how to stop the run, get that stopped. But Noah Fafita and McMillan at quarterback, they're a pretty potent duo. I think we'll be able to negate that part of their attack. And then on offense, just keep developing. Just keep moving the ball. I mean, we're pretty balanced. Yesterday we were 249 and 208. Keep it going. That's Utah football.
That's what Witt said he wanted in his press conference. He wanted that balanced attack, and that's exactly what we saw. Rojo, what do you think, Arizona?
To me, I feel like they got that quarterback that did what he did last year. Wait, son. He did what he did last year to us, and it was tough. It was tough, and we owe them. That's what I would say. We owe them, and I'm hoping that they understand that this is homecoming for us, and it's the reason that we placed them on homecoming. You're supposed to win homecoming games.
Adonis, what do you think, man? Arizona, are we going to beat them?
Yeah. Okay.
There we go. We're gonna win.
There we go.
Calvert.
Like I said, there's only two teams I dislike more than Arizona. I hope we put the shellacking on them. I hope we run up the score. And it's going to be a vicious environment. Nobody likes coming playing here in the altitude, like you said. Nobody likes playing at Rice at night. And I think that we're starting to see that we are going to play our football and they have to handle us versus us trying to find what's going to work in our playbook or what we need to do special. We've got a great group of kids up there playing man ball, bully ball, like Mark said earlier. And that's going to be our identity moving forward. And I love utilizing and initiating that identity against nobody else than Wildcats and Cougars. So I'm looking for a shellacking. I'm also predicting that our streak of 20 years of having a pick six, we break the record for the 21st consecutive year next week. It's going to happen at Rice. Someone's going to pick it, take it to the house. In fact, we're going to do it 4 times to run up the score on them. Because on offense, we won't be able to run up the score morally. We're good guys. But defensively, let's take everything we can to the house.
Yeah.
So we had a nice little discussion when we were off camera about Cam Rising, and I wanted to just talk about that because all the fans want to know about that. And kind of what we were getting at was perhaps Cam is becoming a bit of a distraction the longer that he's gone from the team. I'd like to hear Cal kind of sound off on this and just talk about what Cam Rising's relationship is with the program right now and what you think the future looks like.
Well, Cam is still the guy. I mean, he's won 2 championships for us. I mean, I'm not about to forget that. But when you have a process in place that is successful, and it happens on every team under this scenario, it mirrors the fan mentality. If it's really truly next man up, then we shouldn't be worried about somebody returning, like Rojo said earlier. If we continue to use our energy to think about ifs and whens and shoulda, woulda, couldas, we're going to fart, fumble, and fall down all over ourselves. So, I mean, if he takes majority of the first team reps again this week, if that's what they report, I mean, I'm starting to figure out that anything that comes out of the Hill it should be taken with a grain of salt. You don't know who's going to play. I'm sure Witt does. I was curious how the line changed right before the game, before it was announced that he wasn't going to be starting. But we all want him to come back. And the players want him back. The coaches want him back. He wants to be back. But it develops a little bit of a dilemma, being somebody who's on the outside looking in, trying to come back in and make an impact with the flow of the game and the sync of the receivers and all of that.
Rojo, what do you think, Cam Rising?
I mean, Cal is right, and we did talk about this a little bit. And I mean, so I went to not Stillwater, Slackwater restaurant. And that's where I watched the game at. So nobody knew who was playing. We was all just like, who's going to play? Like, is it going to be Cam? And then the way that the TV was showing it, Cam is throwing a ball, dressed up. So it's just one of those things that's like, soon as the offense took the field, the room, the air in the room kind of just like, oh gosh, like, come on. See, so to me, I'm not saying that Cam is losing the team, because Cal is right. The team is Cam. That's just what it is. We're not gonna ever forget that he know how to win big games, and that's just what it goes. But Isaac won a big game, and he did it really, really well. And sometimes the team will roll behind the hot hand, and I'm really hoping that we keep it that way, because maybe we can keep Cam healthy enough to make it to where we really, really need him, as in like later in the season, because injuries happen. But you just never know. And distractions, I feel like it can be a distraction a little bit, and maybe that's because the way that the team rolls is that you got to have a leader, and if your leader is consistently getting hurt, and I mean, you can't really fake. I mean, you can't really avoid being injured, but if somebody's being hurt, I mean, the next person is up and he's doing really well. He's leading the team. That's all I can say about it.
Mark.
I think sometimes opinions and perceptions develop among the fan base, and it's less of a deal inside the team. The team's just kind of focused on their assignment and what they're doing. Especially in this situation, we've got two pretty good quarterbacks. If this is a quarterback controversy, this is the kind to have, in my opinion. Cam can come back and pick up right where Isaac is left off. We're going to be fine. If Isaac keeps playing, we're going to be fine. I think it's far less of an issue inside the team. I think than among the fans.
So
flashback a year ago. This is a great problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No, it is. It's a great problem, but it could be bad too. Now, I say that because of my experience in my senior year, but we had Terrence Kane. Yeah, we had T Kane at quarterback, and he was our starter. And then we played against Oregon at Oregon. He had a bad first half, and then after that, Jay Wynn came in. Jordan stepped in, and then when Jordan stepped in, we understood the assignment as in like you just said, Mark. We know how to play. We got to play our game, but then it does get to the point of like, who the hell is the leader? And then it's like, then it goes back into like further, and that's during the season. Then it goes back further into like the summer conditioning of like Coach Witt keeping who the hell's supposed to be the starters away from us defensive players of like who's our go-to guy. But that just runs a little deep. And that's why I said for me, it's just looking at it from my perspective of what I experienced. And when you have this type of situation, it can be a really good thing because you know you got somebody good, but then it can turn into like, who are we going to lean on when it comes to those moments? And this was a big moment for Isaac, which shows that he can step up in it. But the bigger moment for this will be this weekend, this homecoming game, this night game at home against Arizona, where the pressure is going to be so much bigger because it's a blackout game. It's like it's so many extra variables to add into that. Where if Isaac can step, if we have Isaac starting and he does really really well, I don't know, because protect the house is something that we live by. And when it's these night games are big games for everybody because everybody's watching in the state of Utah.
There's a reason why media is not allowed into practice anymore. Can you recall one instance where in practice, two quarterbacks took 50-50 of the snaps?
Nope.
Like it was an even split.
No, I can't
recall any circumstance of that. There have been some offenses that have tried that, but they're not notable because they didn't work out. So
last year what we did, we had a three-man rotation almost, and all of a sudden we had to chop it and then keep it to our pig farmer. And then it got to the point of like, we're riding the hot hand, but it's like riding the hot hand at quarterback. Can't ride the hot hand at quarterback, homie. You just can't.
It's disassociating and displacing for an offense to experience the quarterback change in a game. I can't imagine what it would be like splitting 50-50 reps in practice. I mean, just not being able to get in a groove, that sense of identity. But then again, I'm on the outside looking in. It could be the brilliant chess move of the year. I mean, Whittingham knows what he is doing. He once again silences all of the haters, all of the doubters, and we are continuing to move forward in ways that we enjoy watching as fans and as former players. It's a delight.
So who excuse me, who is the favorite to win the conference? Mark Oberg.
I would say we are the favorite, but it's 1 week at a time. That could change, and you can't project too far down the road. Just take it 1 week at a time and keep knocking them off.
That's a very rational approach that many fans 40 miles south of where we are don't take. You know it's true. You know it's true. Today, I got a text from a guy. He just sent me a picture of the standings. He's a big BYU fan, and that's all he said, a very passive-aggressive gesture. So I know where their minds are right now. But you're right. It's one game at a time. I mean, Cal, what do you think?
There's one game I have circled on the calendar, and I have since it got scheduled, and that's the return of the Holy War. Emotions play high in any rivalry, and this one hasn't been played for quite some time. The one concern that I have is who has more vested emotionally in that game, because we haven't played the rivalry. So a lot of out-of-state athletes we have on our roster haven't experienced that yet. The Y has a lot more in-state recruits. So that could become a factor of emotional stepping up. That's it. I still think we're favorites. I absolutely think we're favorites. But using the word potential to me has always been a trap word, because potential always is stated as unfulfilled. You never call somebody an overachiever. You never look at a player and say, oh, that player far exceeded our expectations and that's about as good as they're going to get. But you constantly hear programs or players not fulfilling potential. It's just a media grab at attention and predictability, but because that's what sells. But one game at a time, And we've got Arizona, who had a bye. They don't have a lot of film on what our offense will do if Cam does go under center. That is a huge benefit that we have. They are in a situation preparing. They don't know who they're going to see. And it's more distraught for them than it is for us as fans, when you can't plan who to prepare for and what to nail down in your game plan.
Robert Johnson.
And for me, I mean, y'all saying hit it right on the nail right there from what I feel. But it's 3 games that I've been looking at that I've been like kind of like hoping like this is going to be like the games is going to tell us where we at. TCU. TCU is never a pushover opponent for us. They like people always talk about rivalry games. TCU has always been a tough game to play, and that's to me considered almost like a rivalry in its own because of everything that we have done with TCU. And then the team down south, that's always big. That's always what it is. You know, like that comes down to last second plays a lot of times. So that's always a tough one. But then UCF, their numbers kind of match up with what our numbers look like, as in the points allowed and the points that we all have put up. And they played against TCU and they beat TCU. So I'm not saying that this is, and you yarning on me. No, but I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that UCF is like our biggest opponent, but we go down to UCF, I believe, and UCF
last
yeah,
week.
Short week too.
yeah, and UCF, they what they supposed to win the national championship that one time that they went undefeated, I guess. So trust me, they're gonna come ready to play because they want to prove to us that what we did in that 2008 season is not what they did in their undefeated season. But that's gonna be a tough one. I feel like right now they're 3-0 too. So to me, they got their own little special way of running plays and doing things. But TCU, team down south, and UCF is the 3 games that would tell me right now if I say we're in the favorites of winning this conference or we're up and down with it, because it's a lot. It's going to be a lot of movements that's going to happen the next 3 weeks. I say it's going to be a lot more movement of the standings and everything's going to be a little bit more clear, but these teams are really, really dangerous.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think those are some good games to circle on the calendar. Obviously, everyone's excited for the Holy War to return. Arizona's going to be a tough opponent. Don't sleep on them. They have a chance to win. I mean, anyone does any given Saturday. So it should be a pretty exciting season. But I'm feeling very confident. That performance in Stillwater to me was very impressive. I know you guys agree. So we've got a lot to look forward to as Utah fans, and we'll just see what happens at the quarterback position. But we know that we have 2 quarterback, or at least 1 quarterback we can really count on. So any final thoughts from anyone here?
Everybody come prepared for that game. It's about to be nice. It's our first night game, official night game. I say not leading into the night. It's gonna be our official night game. Blacked out, black mode, dark mode.
Yep.
It's gonna be tough. This is gonna be like a real good one for us, from what I feel. Hopefully we can just dominate and just kick them out of the way, hopefully. Because Coach Witt don't forget. And I'm about 100% sure Coach Witt might just like keep the starters in the whole game, even if we're up 50-0. He might keep the team in.
I think the intensity increases. We're going to have some key players come back from little nicks and bruises too. So our roster should expand next week, and we're going to keep doing what we do.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree.
dark mode game. Get it cranked up. Rice Eccles. Let's make sure the rest of the nation is seeing our hostile environment and win the game and then get a week off.
Right on. Well, hey, Ute fans, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching another great episode of The Extra Point. Tune in next week after we play Arizona, and go Utes.
Go Utes.